you miss a windy bass no oh yeah shaman cranaye a bed and cranganaha at all a bed in a galamsey young isumonsumi. These are the questions we expect because in Crofia will back to when majority of them were MPs. And I'm we MPs. So the fact is now all qualify home way MPs. It's been known the citizens have voted for them. Njenye mi na beka obi ne yel mi no moye bi okọ school todom a friend I uncle de bio no so you go find. Finally Agya Kwabena, the decision to give the minority leader unlimited access to ask questions, it should be abrogated immediately because he has abused it.
Sir.
Yes. So at a certain one MP, one MPO, we young MP, it means 106 questions, sir. Is it a probe or a probe?
See, I want the best out of the MP.
Best out of out of you and bisa the pharmacists mbisa pharmacists come a friend and law questions it repeats a humanitarian kayen yimizibi nation wo ho na Agya Kwabena yenti krom hala and no be okay minister for fisheries akọ culture go no ntumi define.
Why now can I say?
How commission? Obisan question Joe Osewusu Obisan na ocheche mapu no ntase what obitro man and san oreka yet from her. Now this what you are doing is much ado about nothing because what you are reporting now what we call parliament a plenary anawa lawyer is that not the case? Yeah. And they are going to vote on it. Na MPP what you parliament going to what now will vote against the NDC majority. As to MPP from what you say so what the report about parliament next what's there we voter we vote in there.
You
I know what the Supreme Court back on. This is much ado about nothing, wasting the country's time, resources. Share vetting ever could be an office no work.
Yeah.
Look at the man hours we are wasting. Now say we can Donald Trump. Now say be waka wa abrochi. Now over there, leaders of this country, we have a country to build, and we, 5 million students people have passed through the FSHS and they will vote for them. That was it. If you are discuss. Every policy implementation was for votes and propaganda. Yet the man, and say, I could for the year one was second, when we know the start to case war.
So, yes, so be the
bless my soul, them from our tap graduate start in Katrabu, Kawoko Bunkani, and to
almost some year for. The only you know they have buying, you say, or say, or you'll be a Bema Mebu, so I have buying or the bomb for police for mobile. I have buying. The power of the people is more than the power of the presidency. What power start you don't cases second debut. We have our own heroes. Western region, we have our own heroes. Sir Quatara, last time I was telling you the annoying thing at the most why you road that without to approve of the papa. At the most why you road. Anaju road in our opponent, Anaju to Sikati Junction, without to approve of the papa. Don't we have our own heroes? Is coming not from Western region? Is Parliamentary not from the Western region? Akufo-Addo, who grow na start a friend upon asphalt is a shame for what's Wi-Fi. For start to make us grow. We are tired of this impunity. Okay. But that's it. You have some for Frosana as is here and Krata Abekayansa free Domkumano Ashe na Ningina fa decision speaker. Take ye no nti brepamu no ye beken kan minority or say minority caucus in parliament na ni nyina ne say or say suspension of 3 members of parliament in the minority caucus 31st January 2025 or say the decision by the speaker of parliament right honorable Aban SK Bagbin on Friday 31st January 2025 to suspend 3 distinguished members of parliament of the New Patriotic Party, Honorable Frankana Dompre in Samadwajiri, Honorable Al-Hassan Suleimana Tampuri Gushegu, and Honorable Jerry Ahmed Shaib Wejagbawe is an unfortunate overreach of parliamentary authority, a blatant display of selective justice, an attack on the democratic principles. Minor property damage was not a planned disruption, but a manifestation of the growing tension caused by a majority and their members, and the failure of the chairman of the appointment committee to exercise impartiality. 3. The speaker's decision to unilaterally suspend these 3 MPs without due process, in accordance with provision enshrined in Standing Order 130A and B, without an opportunity for them to be heard under Article 19(1) of the Constitution, and without first exhausting internal disciplinary mechanism, sets a dangerous precedent. It signals an era where the speaker can arbitrarily punish members of parliament based on perceived disobedience rather than adherence to parliamentary rules and fairness. The speaker himself has, on numerous occasions, presided over parliament where similar or worse incidents occurred, yet no such punitive measures were taken. The refusal to apply the same standard in previous instances makes this decision appear politically motivated, aimed at intimidating certain members of parliament and silencing dissent. Now, it is important to recall that during the previous parliamentary chaos, particularly during the controversial 2021 speakership election, at the public hearing on the nomination for promotion of 2 Supreme Court judges on the 30th of July 2024, and the brawl in Parliament over e-levy, where a member of the NDC physically assaulted a member of the majority caucus of the 8th Parliament, the Speaker adopted a reconciliatory approach at all instances. What then does he choose at this moment to impose harsh and selective punishment? This inconsistency undermines his credibility as a neutral arbiter and exposes a worrying bias that must be called out. Furthermore, the Speaker's approach disregards the fact that Parliament is a house of records, or a house of debates, sometimes heated, and members have a duty to ensure that due process is followed. The Speaker's role is to facilitate dialogue and order, not to punish lawmakers for standing their grounds in the face of procedural unfairness. We categorically reject the suspension of these 3 members, MPs, and demand an immediate reversal of this political charge decision. This unjustifiable action is not addressed. If not addressed, it will set a precedent where the Speaker becomes an unchecked authority, weaponizing disciplinary measures against those who do not align with his preferred political narratives. Parliament must remain a bastion of democracy, not an institution of oppression. The Ghanaian people deserves Parliament where all voices are heard, not one where members are punished for their commitment to due process and accountability. Democracy thrives on fairness and justice, and we will not sit idle while parliamentary democracy is undermined by selective application of rules. And krata efi minority for abanono. Let's say omo chere say anamo a speaker to ye no uti o chere say they are standing for their right as a their course of parliament no omo gina say de be ya let we dey I mention say who ni say eno ano no ana say nka uti dey making kind no what kind of that wo copy ampa so who gina for fairness say ni gina for fairness.
Agya Kwabena.
Yes, sir.
There's a thin line between arrogance and boldness.
Okay.
Very thin line. MPP wo ho a. Say me yes say can say oh na MPP for you arrogant. But people can sit on set and talk anyhow. Say omo de your boldness and your arrogance. Let me be injure. The mere fact that it be a winning majority and you don't like a certain political party doesn't mean you should look down and talk down on them every time. It will get to a time people will get to know you. It will get to a time. This a year course you know. Alex Bonnie Bain away by asking questions. He shouldn't exercise his rights and duties as a parliamentarian or a special committee set up if the privileges committee is not still set up. So that Okwa, they'll go and listen to her side of every story or everything that has gone on. Then their report will be brought to the speaker. So a decision is taken. The speaker doesn't take it upon himself. Say ontie ubia, then he goes ahead to suspend.
So what's a committee for someone for 10 days?
That what's a committee? Now one suspending microphone that. What's a committee? Then you suspend the people. Is it right? No, is it right?
Suspension doesn't mean they have been interdicted.
Do you know what suspension means? It means you've taken a judgment on them. Yes, you've taken a judgment on them. Say what suspend you on Moifi Parliament?
For 2 weeks.
Yes, for what reason?
For 2 weeks, you know.
Is he the one who brought them to Parliament? No, is he the one who brought them to Parliament?
It is
so give them the 2 weeks for them. Why do you suspend them and say 2 weeks or mongo?
It is suspension near judgment.
After 2 weeks, or mobile won't be heading. Yeah, Parliament is not better. And all can say, oh, we be a committee in Juma until 2 weeks, no, and so is that what he's going to say?
So 10 days, some fire investigations.
Now, I say committee. So we in Juma after 10 days now. Will you tell them, oh, because committee in Juma until another 10 days? Is that what you are going to say? Why don't you give the committee the chance to do its work and bring you the report? Then you take the decision from there on the committee's recommendation after listening to them. Lawyer Nyibiabekacho say you cannot have a judgment on someone before being heard.
It's a fair suspension and judgment,
isn't it?
Really?
You have punished me. My work is to come to Parliament. My work is to come to Parliament. And I was a That is not what they said. They said they should go home for 2 weeks.
And what's coming?
And he's now open a committee. And meanwhile, I say leaders name Beshiano. No, more discuss it. No.
I'm formal. Say the vetting committee that's so Majuma. And I say Nipa for a free move. It is some reconstitute the committee. They say Nipa BCNI. That
is going to happen in all this conversation by the suspension and everything. It's not only the speaker, even though he's the final arbiter as a chairman, no, he's the final arbiter. No, he's not only the person who takes the decisions of the whole place. That is why Parliament has its rules and regulations. That is why Parliament has its rules and regulations.
Most politically motivated.
Me know what's na ha. Na me know where you juma. Na me feel say why you born. Na me catch you say, ma suspend you 2 weeks coffee. Na anyway, match committee so say. Do you think I'll be fair to you?
You are.
I'm not.
You are.
Because what has happened, a whole lot of people are involved. It's not only these 4 people. A whole lot of people are involved.
How do you know, sir, after the investigation?
That is why you set up a committee.
Okay.
You set up a committee to do the investigations and finish with its work. Now, you are inviting microphone over. And then you say what the this thing committee found out,
okay,
and the way forward.
Okay.
But you don't take everything upon yourself and say, oh, me there, because mayor a friends and speaker ninety, may take a decision. Mungo fie.
Divine, distinguished members of parliament, 3 distinguished members of parliament. And I say, you are suspended woman. Now, which statement now? What we say, politically motivated. It's like they are almost come Kasabash, and they will not sit down idly. They will also stand up for their rights. Yes, sir.
Agya Kwabena.
Yes, sir.
Say na lawyer kasa. Won say let me re-echo. Say you see kebi mami kebi amemo na nyina ya jatu. You see a ye di nkomo wa he. Say o ka say mi na nyame da.
Bad than a
certain
government.
Ade ya statement ya minority for their bay. Minim do sign here, but I assume say we are penyo marking na a sanction here. So anamebwa
Metie.
Unim say this statement is needless. And an aspect of the statement that nanka me expect to say omube focusing on say enka they will be a bit apologetic because of what has happened. But there's no way I'll say almost show any form of remorse be now unim kufo MPP way sometimes the intimate transition say with the greatest of respect, with the utmost respect and work for the party, no. Say you answer for no more. Like the smart ones in the MPP, I'm asking, because some of the mistakes are avoidable. Some of the things, Agya speaker backbone, Agya immediately to salvage and to rescue the image of Parliament. See, if this thing does not happen immediately, the way they are trying to make it look now, Agya Kwabena, do you know what will happen?
No.
They are setting a certain record and precedent. I'm telling you, if any citizen gets angry and asks any bufua, they will take the law into their own hands. And when I was home, now me reminisce, now me dream in some imagine that if the way a parliament conduct and parliamentary activities, parliamentary work, break it down. Do you know what it means for our democracy? And that image, if Zimbabwe and suspend you almost see any see NPC, almost send a police for no swan conyano, almost a table, no. Then you buy and one day na mo exude all of a sudden table, none in 9 to 2 say. Then na babing say oh monko ye be set up committee. Impression image being na all put out there or they try Ghana for because like I always say Agya arms of government for no year no TO the executive the legislature and the judiciary yet memu for see ye do so chen homo anameboa eje bibi omo ye bia na ye pe the omo ye bia bi won sometimes even parliamentary activity sometimes omo ye nyama ebutumefu but I see Nana Akufo-Addo when he was in power sometimes me hunu TV super na meboafu hey owura kenu for reata for one me hunu anam akoma but you say kebi ma min kebi onu e minister u be bia o ye adwuma wasu wagu no wa say o bank wa say you only have to wait say what 10 abeto aba wato aba wo quarter wako wo asem bia won na twe but some you say the last resort no say be say nyama na an MP onu so be protecting your interest as a people no etumi ka say mututu musa nyama no mamomo kwan say mi bufu a de MP for no year now don't say what they are trying to tell us and say when we disagree with the way conduct we should go and beat them. Is that what we want now in this country? Is it a survival of the fittest? That's what they are showing us. Say, okay, send na senior brother Ekano. Who's the not church about say, and I know Mukayano, and I wait in a one and the one instigate and one incite and if he yes, Obi na aye. It's so no be nyadwinya. See and say nyama because you want to register your displeasure. And na ye ka say owura bagun ade omo ye no let's say omo danase so di save omo ankasa omo image Yes, sir. They are setting a president be. I'm telling you, say, Yankasa de Mrabeshe and some say when they mess up there and we disagree, we will go and beat them out parliament. Or but that back when I and say we put in place punitive measures to show us to say no. Emrano ewoho, oya bonia, and new ubedi. And it is good for us. Enti medema no see ewo sa assembly ono. Let's not mince words and create the impression say obi person or target you. Ye nyina no sabi sabi o ye ni frafo. We saw what happened on the screens. Ye nyina hu de course so nkrofo mo ye ene de ekosi. Ye even kra no Speaker of Parliament, he's been magnanimous. Because sir if
ese sibio ema hoya ba me binu krepre no kra no wen take ashi bia na we e no take ashi meaning say saa tu na ekwa ne de favor no nti no yes na we na favor ne nti no e na o take sa ashi na kwa me say oya vindictive oya yimu nti no they will not sit down idly for this to go on. I'm say so be to amofo wadaro 2 minutes you wasamba kwa be kan briefly ni asore ye
divine ya twene there especially chode binim wo police station or throw one statement another wa local one today my lawyer can we are all equal before the law me care there na say mu student be student was we bana was in onye way demonstration what you wen nyinara akaya student mo frama was we in onye no way demonstration metro na bad ne dan ujutu university was say okay me kan wan some ya what catch mo frama police look catch mo frama gum as of course the man in parliament in ziban hu bi o oye ya bre na ya mbre and without emotional intelligence shede Parliament of Ghana satellite is do the whole world is watching us na am table do tutu microphone do sabo fraba say louvers no watching it tomorrow e say microphone na why odan another what's the parliamentary immunity it extends to parliamentary stupidity. It was so stupid. Abra sori kofie ana mbobia abra sori kofie na wasa in them na hwema what describe one distinguished distinguished indeed what distinguished actually mo from organ there say why your bana another ntoka ba went assembly went ma won kun toka won say adi wo school Kwabena Chesialama parliamentarians so nye speaker ni intervention here. No chede today ma wo fazi on TV okay. It is right. The person of anybody there mutache you cry my assault and battery. I mention IGP on catching one.
Sir also my report collecting report.
No you dey the mad MPC in on because police for parliament out there watching one.
Okay.
For destroying public, if you and never I say police no was here. Everyone ministry MPP when you know opposition.
Lawyer, I am say be na more bodyguards na yes adwuma no. Me must say dey mama so anko. Lawyer, na fe yemfa ayini yemfa enya yi. Na fe yemfa ayini yemfa enya yi.
Mamika has said my view has always been over the past 5 years. Say speaker Agya Kwabena was one of the brightest spots over the last 5 years. He was one of the brightest spots, no doubt. And I think say the statement and Nancy how make his statement be say the MPs now are allowing themselves to be led by the parties instead of they leading. MP for social statements now my for statement I hear what they are saying. I hear it, but I can tell you say what is pushing them here because more fighting. I can tell you say what is pushing them here because more fighting for a cause, more of self-preservation for a cause, more of self-preservation. Because the first thing they should have done was to have, he was one of the standout people in the over the last 5 years. And the MPP for what is pushing them is not any desire to protect anything. It's self-preservation. But in answering that question, no, does the speaker have the power to take that action he took? The personal view say Debbie. My personal view say Debbie because we are under the rule of law. It will be ultimately arrogative power onto yourself only. Parliament powers. Omudi discipline or more MPs. Or more, Madam, privileges
for one
or more privileges or more Parliament privileges committee. Privileges committee it to me
it hasn't been formed. That's why they need a special committee.
So, but they have the powers to form a special committee for but this. For me, Speaker must have some. Why should I mean and understand to be educated? Why should I Speaker know some special powers to take decision, take care? But from where I'm sitting, from what I think I know, I don't mean I'm struggling to find where the Speaker took his powers from to issue 2 weeks. A actor are condemning no uncertain terms, being the official spokesperson for the movement for change, by issue statement condemning the CWO Parliament. But that does not justify so we may take arrogate upon himself always because like numbers I spoke about creating the right political culture. So our political culture, the focus of it is to guarantee for us the rule of law. It is a big issue when I say really flies against principle of the rule of law, then in my view, it must be condemned and it must be questioned. So for me, yes, understand me or argument, say maybe a bit more amount for some vimbi, but nothing should be done to undermine some rule of law. And I think he could also have given us confidence, the system not working, by the creation of some committee to look into and then give the right punishment. So for me, in all respect, I agree with Speaker's view, but let me finally add, say, police for Nyomojuma. Okay. Property of the state has been destroyed. Immediately, say me now also a president or from his lawyer, but on a senior lawyer. I don't know. Or to find lawyer now and me bashing. Now we see now we were and I okay say it's but you see, but I just say ASAP no says or rightly or kind police for them must have the courage and act. People must be writing statements and probably must be struggling to get bail. Now a friend saying yen from committee so na committee looking to domo yen no na se betwa maso a yen twa maso.
Okay. And I say we dey you suma be du no mutini yen fa eno enye petition da kuma mampanin mahama say wonhwe na electoral commissioner ene ne commissioners no yen pam wo mo na wutie akabo enye bibie